I'm live, it says. I was having trouble getting this one set up, man. First, I couldn't find a product, and so I used an alternative product, but then I found the product, and I tried to get it set up, and it kept kicking me out. I couldn't figure out what it was doing. Anyways, I digress. How the heck are you? I'm the Whiskey Whisperer, although I'm not technically drinking whiskey for this video, as I try to get it fixed here. As I try to get... Things are just not wanting to work with me today, I'll tell you that right now. Let's see, there we go. Adjust this a little bit this way. See if that works. Anyways, how the heck are you? So, I'm having technical difficulties, man. There we go. Let's see if that gets it fixed. All righty. How the heck are you? I am trying to Whiskey Whisperer, but I'm not drinking whiskey for this video. I've got some gin, and I knew I had 2 bottles of gin, but I couldn't find a second one for the life of me. So I've got the Still 630 American Navy Strength Gin. They're out of St. Louis, Missouri. And I knew I had this one, but it was hiding on me. From Restless Spirits out of Kansas City, Missouri, I've got the Builder's Barrel Finished Gin, distilled from Midwestern grain made with rosemary, lavender, and love. So I knew I had this one, but I could not find it for the life of me. So I had the Restless Spirits Duffy's Run vodka, so I did a vodka martini. But then I found where I hid the gin. So I didn't have. If I didn't have it in the cabinet, I thought I had it out in the garage, but I wasn't where I thought it was out there. But I finally came across it when I was looking for something else. And anyways, I digress. So I'm trying to decide which one to start with as I stall for time here, but I think I'm going to start with this one. The Builder's Barrel Finished Gin. This is from Restless Spirits out of Kansas City, Missouri. This is very interesting. Again, distilled from Midwestern grain, made with rosemary, lavender, and love. But I really like this one because I am a fan of barrel finished gin. I love the Tomstown out of Kansas City as well. Rosemary, lavender, and love. This limited production gin is a labor of love from the lab of distiller Benet Shannon, rather. Starting with her award-winning Builder's Botanical Gin, she rested it in uniquely seasoned barrels of her own American malt whiskey and blueberry pomegranate cider. Oh, that's interesting. The results are undeniable, purely crafted character, and in the heartland, character runs deep. So let me show you this bottle. I'm going to show you the back of that if you want to take a shot of that story there. All right, let me pick up this one here. We're going to start with it. I do like barrel gin because I do love those. I'm a whiskey guy, so I love those barrel notes. And I think that's why I haven't been a fan of gin in the past. But the barrel gin I've had, again, the Tomstown barrel gin is just insanely good. But this one kind of just takes it to a whole other level with all of those other layers of flavor that they mentioned there. You get all those botanicals. You do feel that hint of blueberry as well. And you do get that hint of spice right at the end. It's very interesting. I meant to get this video started at 7 because I had another idea to start with, and I went with this idea, and then I had trouble finding the background, and then I had trouble finding the products, and everything just went awry on me. I just felt like a nice time for a martini. To quote the inimitable Reverend Horton, it's martini time. I play the song, but then I get a copyright strike. Again, the Reverend Horton Heat. If you're not familiar with the Reverend Horton Heat, look him up on Spotify or YouTube or whatever music service you have. The band's a genius. The Reverend Horton, man, just a great live act, great act in general. But if you ever get a chance to see the good Reverend live, it's amazing. I hadn't drank this in a while. I bought it back in August. I guess I drank a lot at the time because this took me better than halfway through the bottle, but I haven't had it in a little while. It's been at least a month, if not two, that I've had it. So I must have drank a lot initially to be that far into it. It's really good, man. Because a martini is a great summer cocktail, man. That's kind of when I bought it. I bought it at the distillery back in August when we were out there. Oh man, that's good. Again, this one has kind of layers upon layer of flavor. It's really interesting. And then, of course, you get those barrel notes. I mean, the rosemary and lavender is one thing, the other botanicals, but then you've got it rusted in those barrels. And then what do they mention here? Malt whiskey barrels, which is going to give you a certain amount of flavor, a layer of flavor there. And then it says blueberry pomegranate cider. That's going to take it a different direction. So you just got a lot going on here. That's absolutely gorgeous. I mean, it's a martini waiting to happen. It really is. I mean, it's got everything in there you want. I made it dirty by adding a little olive juice, but quite frankly, you really don't need it. Just as is, it makes it perfect. If you want to add some dry vermouth, hey man, here's to you. Hey man, do what you got to do. I don't think it needs it, and quite frankly, if I make another martini out of it, I don't think I'll add the olive juice because there's so much flavor going on there. It just doesn't need it. It's martini time. It's martini time. That's such a great song. I try to do something here real quick. Get my second one prepped real fast for you. Oh, now this is a drink that you do want to serve chilled, but it's typically served straight up, which means you've got it chilled, but you're not serving it with ice. I do know folks that will drink a martini on the rocks. I'm just not one of those people. Hey, if you want it that way, no problem. I'm not an on the rocks guy very often. I don't like ice a lot, to be honest with you. Every once in a while, some whiskey on the rocks. Every once in a while, I'll put my old fashioned on the rocks, but even then, I most of the time I do my old fashioned straight up, just like my Manhattan. I'm just not a fan of ice in a cocktail, personally. I got issues with I don't know how to explain it, man. I wish I had a good explanation, but I just don't have one. But it doesn't happen to me all the time. But certain ice somehow will, I don't know, it does something to the back of my throat and it triggers a gag reflex, I guess. It happens if I have certain ice, and it doesn't happen necessarily all the time, but I have to be real careful where I have ice from. Uh, I don't have that issue if I use distilled water cubes, but if I have ice at any restaurant anywhere, I have that issue, so I just don't order ice. Anyway, we don't care, Tom. Anyway, slosh it. Let me show you this bottle one more time as I finish this first martini. Builder's Gin, barrel finished gin, distilled from Midwestern grain. I don't know why I went to AM radio voice, but sometimes I do for no apparent reason. There we go. Let me show you that bottle. Recently lost, in my opinion, the best DJ that ever was, the best rock DJ that ever was. Jim Ladd recently passed away. The Tom Petty song, "The Last DJ," was rumored to be about him. Jim Ladd, man, the man was a genius. I grew up listening to him as a kid in California. And he had the syndicated radio show interviews, so folks across the country may have heard of him as well. But oh, the man was brilliant. But he'd get fired from he'd get fired almost on a daily basis, right? It seemed like he was at this radio station, he'd get fired, go to the next radio station, he'd get fired, he'd go back to the other radio station. And he kind of make his way around. Everybody was so popular that is whoever, his audience would follow him from station to station. But he wouldn't listen to I mean, whatever brass was involved. Yeah, he would always do what he wanted to do. He would only play what he wanted to play. He wouldn't play any required playlist. He was just a very interesting individual. He would talk about smoking a joint on the air, and I'm talking about the 70s. It wasn't legal then, you see. It wouldn't be much of a controversy now, but it was back in the 70s. They talk about smoking a joint or whatever. And the great thing about Ladd is you never knew what he was going to play, right? He was known for playing, the second or third song on a B side of a record. He would play the stuff that nobody else had the balls to play. And oddly enough, I mean, I've kind of gotten that reputation myself as my favorite song on any given album is really kind of the second or third song on the B side. I've got at one particular job I have, I'm able to play my own music. And someone said, Tom, so when you decide to make a playlist, you pick a band and say, okay, I'm going to pick this band that everybody knows, but I'm going to pick a song that I know nobody's heard of. I said, well, I don't do it intentionally, but it kind of works out that way. Again, a lot of that could be that Jim Ladd influence. Is there some magnification? I don't know. It might seem like it. I'm not sure. That's not a massive olive, but I'm not sure how it's. I'm not sure how that's. It might be. I don't know. It does seem larger than it really is. Might be a little magnification in the glass. I didn't think so because it's a little olive, but it does look bigger when I hold it that way. You're right. I want to post your comment because no, I'm interested. It does seem like it's not a big olive by any means, but it does look bigger in the glass, do it not? anyways, I digress. I want to finish off this one to get to drink number 2. Well, we still have a certain level of decorum. We've lost that, Tom. We do not have that anymore. Get my next cocktail ready here. I'm trying not to spill. My wife's got a little tarp down in the studio here, which is our living room. But it's a little plastic down here. So when I spill, inevitably it'll land there. I think it's also because if she ever wants to end me, there'll be plastic here, so she can just roll me up and get rid of all the evidence. Oh, mercy. Oh, okay. That's nice too. So this is the second gin though is a whole other animal. So let me get that one to show you. So the first one is out of Kansas City, Missouri. This one is out of St. Louis. So I stayed in Missouri here for the, again, still 630 out of St. Louis. This is their American Navy strength gin at 120 proof. This gin boasts the indomitable spirit of the American Navy and anchors in the barrel strength realm, enticing lemon pepper notes blend with a beautiful floral component to create an incredibly unique and mixable gin. Yeah, this stuff really is good. I've been a fan. I didn't realize I was that close to the end, but I've had this one for a while. I picked up that one back in June. That one was at 120. I don't remember if I gave you the proof on this one here. It is at 92, so it's at 92. So it's a little bit less, but 92 is still, a relatively high proof there for a gin. Anyway, let me show you this one. This one doesn't magnify the olives quite as I didn't realize that, but it didn't look like a big olive there. Let me show you that glass now that now it's kind of gone away. I think it's just the way it was looking in the glass with the liquid, I guess. Tom, are you using Chernobyl olives? You got some 3 Mile Island olives there, Tom? Anyways, like 3 Mile Island olives, baby. You can't beat it. That that martini glows in the dark, Tom. A glow in the dark martini, 3 Mile Island olives, man. Anyways, I digress. But I digress, man. Oh man, this one's good. But again, that for me, I love that barreled component, right? I bought this one because I was really curious about the Navy strength. It is a beautifully done gin, though. Those lemon pepper notes that they describe, the other botanical components. It's just a beautifully done gin and very easy to drink at that proof. Believe it or not, I mean, it's just nice. Damn, it is delicious. I gotta tell you, it is good. Again, a lot of lemon on this, more lemon on this one than the first one, but not quite as complex because you don't have those barrel notes going on and those blueberry pomegranate cider notes. There's a lot happening in that one, but this one gives you more of a traditional gin. It's just a lot of proof. But again, it is remarkably easy to drink. The same mixable. Again, yeah, sure, why not? But I've got it in a martini where it's the only thing I've got mixed with it is about a quarter ounce of olive juice. I mean, it really is that easy to drink. And again, this is a cocktail you want to serve good and cold. Shaken, not stirred. No, for me, I'm more of a stirred, not shaken kind of guy. Especially if I'm using gin. With vodka, in all honesty, I'm not as concerned. But with gin, yeah, I prefer to stir that cocktail rather than shake because I don't want all of that ice in there. Again, it just comes down to preference. So there really isn't a right or wrong way. It's really in how you like the cocktail. Some like them more watered down than others. I'm just not going to brag about it. Yes, there's an old West Ween line. The Martin Sheen character takes a shot at James Bond. He's ordering a weak drink and he's being snobby about it. Anyways, yeah, I do prefer stirred than shaken, but hey, man, do what you got to do. The logic is so that you can possibly get it colder quicker by shaking. I honestly don't know if I buy into that, but again, do what you got to do. It makes me never mind. It's your cocktail. I like to do mine a specific way because, well, uh, there's a lot of OCD going on for me. That was why I couldn't stop finding my component. Yeah, when I was looking for the gin, I found the one and I knew I had the other one, so I used, but then I couldn't find it, so I used the vodka in place, but I couldn't stop looking for it because that's kind of how OCD works. Once you've got something in your head, you're supremely focused on that. You cannot move on to something else until you solve that problem, right? And as much as I've tried upon occasion to go on, you just can't. Uh, Mercy. So they talk about lemon pepper notes. Sure, you're definitely going to get that. I get a lot of citrus going on here. But there's certainly a lot of other botanicals you're going to find. That's really between you and your palate, to be honest with you, because you're only going to taste what you know. I can tell you certain things, but you're going to taste what you know. I personally pick up a little coriander in there. but I use a lot of spices and herbs in my cooking, so I pick up certain things that may or may not be there, to be honest with you, but that's how I'm interpreting it at that moment. Uh, that's why I say, you're never wrong. Whatever you get is what you get, because you're not going to taste, you're not going to interpret what you don't know. Oh, biscuits, that is not bad, man. I'm a whiskey guy, I really am, but every once in a while, not often, more in the summertime, to be honest with you, but every once in a while, just a martini just sounds like the perfect cocktail. Usually before dinner, but I just hadn't had a martini in so long. I just wanted to try these products, but mostly because I just came across. I kind of forgot I had this Still 630 product until yesterday, and I kind of found it hiding. So that's when I decided I really had to do a martini. And I knew I had this builders, but I couldn't find the damn thing for the life of me. It wasn't where I thought it was. I didn't look for it today because I knew where it was, right? Until I went to look where I knew where it was, and it was this. Oh crap! That's where I was sure it was. So that's when my OCD kicked in, and oh. It took me a long time to warm up to gin, to be honest with you. When I've done dirty martinis in the past, I've used vodka, but over the last couple of years, I've tried to warm up to gin, and a lot of it is because of barrel gin. When I started finding barrel gin, I guess about 4 years ago, actually, when I first found that Tomstown barrel gin. Yeah, I started warming up the gin, and then after doing that, I found myself buying other products that weren't barreled, because now I found a way to appreciate them, like this Still 630, for instance. But I got to tell you, in all honesty, I do favor the barrel gin. I like the idea of a barrel. I like the flavor, the depth that the barrel adds to the product. But I have enjoyed having this bottle of Still 630. So the question would be, Tom, would you buy it again? The answer is yeah, actually, I would. I don't know when. It kind of depends when I come across it again or when I'm in the mood. I bought this back in, can't remember if I bought this back in May or June. I think I said June the first time, but now I'm thinking about it. I might have bought it back in May. I bought it out of Macadoodles in Branson. That's where I picked it up. And I'm not sure if it was late May or early June. It's before I had my knee surgery, so I can't remember if that was May or June. Oh no, the surgery was in June, but I can't remember if I picked that up in May or June. So, anyways, but I've enjoyed having. I drank a lot of it right away though, and then I kind of quit drinking it for a while because I've had other stuff. And then as the months get colder, I tend to gravitate more towards whiskey again. I get away from the clear liquors, the vodka, the gin, where the whiskey seems more comforting for me. And like I said, I kind of forgot I had it around until recently. All right then. So in the description, I said I had two martinis, but I'm actually going to have three. I've got a bonus one with you. The reason I have this one though is because I made the vodka thinking I couldn't. Well, I couldn't find the other one, and I found it, but I already had this one made, so I figured, oh, what the hell, I'm going to drink it now. So we're going to do one vodka martini with you. We did two gin. We're going to do one vodka. Let me show you the bottle for this one. This is another one from Russell Spirits out of Kansas City. This vodka is absolutely superb. Duffy's Run Vodka at 90 proof. This stuff is just insanely good. Distilled 6 times, a good Irishman never shies away from hard work and a stiff drink. and the 57 who laid the tracks of the infamous Duffy's Cut are no exception. They stopped at nothing to complete the treacherous task, and almost 2 centuries later, we've put the same dedication into our hard-working vodka. Anyway, this stuff is insanely good. It really is. It might be the best vodka you've ever had. Forget about that Russian stuff. We don't need that. Fuck Putin. Fuck Putin. Fuck him. We don't need to buy. You don't need to buy that stuff. Fuck Stoli. Fuck Putin. Buy American anyway. Hey, buy Ukraine. I buy Ukrainian vodka before I buy Russian vodka. Yeah, but the truth is, man, American craft is the way to go. It's not just Russell Spirits or other American craft distilleries doing some great vodkas out there. There really is. There was no need to buy anywhere else. Buy American, man. Buy American, baby. Don't support them Russians. Them Russians bought one Trump and got the whole Republican Party. We don't need to support them mothers. Anyways, let's launch it. Oh, this stuff is good. Oh, wow. That is just remarkably easy to drink. After having all those botanicals, you go for drinking that to something completely different, if you will. It's absolutely delicious. So you might ask, you haven't yet, but you might ask what olives I'm using. So I'm finishing up some olives again that I bought in Weston, Missouri, back in August when we were in that neck of the woods. And a little Italian store, no less, but they had these bacon cheddar olives. And I've had blue cheese olives. I've had feta stuffed olives. I've had garlic olives, onion olives, of course, classic pimento olives. I've had anchovy olives. I've had about every olive under the sun, but I had never seen the bacon cheddar before. So, anyways, I bought those. I'm getting here, so I'm kind of trying to finish up that jar. Actually, so like I said, I bought it back in August. I thought, well, it was probably time to it's probably time to finish them off, man. Anyways, I digress. But I digress, man. These are my Restless Spirits glass, as you can see. The others I used more of a, more of a standard martini-esque glass or something, more associated with a martini. Here I just use my standard rocks glass Restless Spirits because I was using the vodka. Oh, mercy. It was an interesting work week for me because I had Monday and Tuesday off for both jobs because of weather here. But because of that, Wednesday and Thursday were extremely brutal, and I'm typically off Friday from my day gig, but I had to work Friday because I was off Monday and Tuesday. I had to work extra hard Wednesday, and I had to work extra hard Thursday, and I had to work Friday, which I don't typically, and I had to work Friday at my second gig. And then extra long shifts, work Friday plus pull an extra long shift at the second gig, and man, I was just dead by the end of yesterday. I was hurting all over. I was barely moving by the end of it. I came home, had one beer. I was going to do some videos, and I did one. I had one beer and 2 ounces of whiskey, and that was it. I was done. I was so tired, so beat. I was in so much pain. Nothing was working. Right? Uh, I couldn't take my muscle relaxer because I had the alcohol, but it was the trade-off, right? Do you want the alcohol or the muscle relaxer? And it felt like in the long run, the muscle relaxer would do more good than the alcohol would do more good than the muscle relaxer. So I didn't take the muscle relaxer. I did wake up this morning feeling a lot better though. I went to bed last night in a lot of pain. I didn't think the bottom of my feet were ever going to stop hurting. I just hurt so bad. Once I finally got to sleep, I slept all right. I slept pretty good for me because I usually wake up about every 2 hours having to pee, but I had a nice 4 hour stretch before I had to get up the first time, so that's pretty good for me. Oh, this kind of reminded me why I like a vodka martini. Yeah, vodka. Vodka's not necessarily tasteless, but it's again, it's just something that just goes down so easy. You get that little bit of olive juice in there, just makes a really nice drinking cocktail. Just almost benign, right? It's just good. You just got to get a nice chill on it. You don't need ice in the glass. Just get it nice, good, and chilled. Anyways, I digress. I am Tom the Whiskey Whisperer, Whiskey Evangelist, prolific whiskey drinker, purveyor of wisdom, and biscuits. Almost there. All right, good guy, Sláinte.